Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Not Funny Guys Presents News Radio Rewatch. We are on episode 14, and we are cruising to almost the very end. In fact, we'll get right up to the penultimate episode of season 2. But we are episode 14, Presence and Coda, as I am sure we are still continuing our Led Zeppelin. And I'm just going to say this right now. This show, I'm only realizing it now, but has some of the strangest, most archaic titles for some of its episodes I've ever seen. But I'll let it go. I will accept it. So, let's get into it. So we start with Presence. This was written by Alan J. Higgins and Josh Lieb, directed by Lee Shalit Chamel, and this first aired on the 14th of April, 1996. And in this one, the basic premise running through this episode is that Jimmy loses Bill in a poker game, and Lisa has to try and win him back. Interestingly enough, this episode does contain an action figure of the Star Wars character Boba Fett. He is shown and discussed in several scenes, and which the commentary notes that they required permission from Lucasfilm. Boba Fett, courtesy of J.T. Hutt, appears in the episode credits. So that, good one, guys, good one. I like that we made a little joke out of it. Now, let's get into break this down. So we start with the conference room table. Beth is apparently broke the printer by taking a picture of herself in reflective glasses, hoping to find the fifth dimension. Yeah, and Matthew is still upset about Dave and Lisa breaking up. Delivery guy shows up with a new station soundboard, and this is where we're revealed that there's an AM radio conference in town, and Mr. James is betting and winning things with his best friends. He won the soundboard, but he lost the coffee station. Mr. James eventually arrives. He looks exhausted. He has not won the coffee machine back, for which Dave is very upset. Like, where's the coffee machine? Where's the coffee machine? Yes, you can see his addiction is full flares. So we have our storyline A, which is going to be Dave, Lisa, and Mr. James playing poker to win Bill back. And storyline B is going to be sort of Bill saying his goodbyes. So they're kind of like a storyline A and A2, or and well, A, B, both in four. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Mr. James goes back. He's about to go back. He's losing. Dave, of course, still mad about no coffee. Everyone offers Mr. James all these good luck charms. Lisa says that card games are not about luck. They're about logic and probability. Beth might be OCD with the amount of weird charms and rituals she has to do. Dave and Lisa are talking in the office about whether Lisa told Bill about their sex life, and Lisa denies it, and then mentions that, something, apparently Bill said that he experienced some erectile dysfunction, and then he remembers he did have that one incident when she called him Stuart during sex. She says it was stalwart. So, they fight over who will help Mr. James when Beth comes in. Someone's got to go back with him to help him win. Dave has a terrible poker face. We established that. Mr. James and Bill are at the conference room table. And when Dave and Lisa join, they start talking. He comes clean that he lost Bill in the conference, in this poker game at the conference. And he bet Bill. And now he's owned by some guy who owns a station in Atlanta. Bill is upset. When he realizes that apparently he was bet against a $2 million Master DMX sound console. But apparently he is allowed to be bet in the game because it's in everybody's contract as an act of God. And from this point forward, Mr. James will be God. Bill, of course, is carrying his contract in his pocket, which they think is ridiculous. He says, now it's not ridiculous. And when he realizes that, yes, there is an article in there. So Dave and Lisa take Mr. James aside. They want to help win Bill back. Lisa and Dave fight over who will go and win Bill back. Lisa knows more about the game, or at least she says she does. She has a better poker face. Turns out she doesn't know how to play the game at all. Bill, though, is now packing up his desk, gives Catherine her stapler back. And this is the beginning of storyline B. Confesses possible love to Beth if they had lived in a simpler world, which weirds her out. And then gives her hole puncher back. Catherine thinks he's gone insane, but that's pretty standard. Bill confesses to Matthew that he plays tricks on him to help toughen him up. And then he gives Matthew a hug and he puts a spaz sign on his back. Bill, Dave, and Lisa go off to the poker game, but before they go, this is when Lisa finally confesses she doesn't know how to play, and so they take her aside to the break room to give her like a crash history. Mr. James starts on this weird lore about the history of poker, which they have to cut that to get right to the point. They only have 10 minutes to teach her. Lisa just wants to know the rules. Joe tries to give them a deck of marked cards. He has glasses, and but apparently he uses some invisible dye, which has a low radiation level. Bill enters and he starts giving things away to everybody, including gives Lisa back her birth control. That was a good one. Joe gives Lisa a Boba Fett figure for his good luck. They arrive at the card game. Lisa and his Mr. James's proxy puts the Boba Fett on the table, and apparently the only reason she knows anything about him is because she dated Dave. Catherine, Beth, and Joe are like in a nearby adjoining room, putting it on the tab of the station. Apparently the Boba Fett figure has a camera in it, and Joe has like this VR goggle set up. It's quite useless because he really can't tell Lisa any of the info he finds out. Bev then comes in trying to pass the info along as room service. She's so clumsy that she ends up telling them Lisa's cards, and then she rats her out and sends her away. Back at the station, Bill is continuing to receive people in like this receiving line, like he's some sort of mafioso boss, and Matthew tells him who each person is. He says something about them. He returns stuff to them. Dave is off talking to the ladies and the grunch and talking about Lisa to them. Lisa then eventually gets down to the last rich guy. It's late in the evening. She bets Dave in the pot. Dave has a terrible poker face because she takes him aside to tell him why. He then comes back because he tells her he has 4 jacks. He comes back, sits down. The guy looks at Lisa, can't read her, looks at Dave. He smiles, he folds, she gets the pot. Now, Dave immediately thinks that he might have been exploited, and he may have been lied to about the cards, because this is his whole thing with Lisa. Dave really can't handle it. She tells him that if he doesn't trust her, he can go look. He says he does trust her. He's bluffing. He finds out that she only had a pair of 6s. And that brings us to the end of the episode. But we do have a post-credit where apparently Lisa's called Bill, letting him know he doesn't have to do this. His desk is immaculately clean now because he's given everything away. He gets up to walk out and immediately starts stealing stuff from looks like Catherine or Lisa's desk. But again, short, tight episode. Really found this. This one's one of my favorite ones, mainly because of the contract element. And that apparently their contract state that something about act of God, and apparently Mr. James is God. But we'll move on now to the penultimate episode of Season 2. So here we have arrived at Coda. This was written by Brian Kelly, Lewis Morton, Josh Lieb, and Paul Sims, directed by Lee Charlotte Chamel. This one aired on the 21st of April, 1996. And the basic summary for this one is that Dave, Bill, and Mr. James try to work out this promotional spot about baseball. Lisa is helping Joe study for a test, and Matthew tries to sign everybody up for a summer house in the Hamptons. And we do have the return of Steve Suskink as the Milos, the janitor. Yay! So let's break it down. So we have another conference room table. Matthew talks about trying to get them to go to a Yankees game together, about starting a softball league, and every time the softball league, he forgot that they needed bats and gloves, and the New York Yankees game, he didn't buy tickets for anybody, but he's come up with another plan now that they all share a summer house in the Hamptons. Everyone thinks it's a great idea, but then he talks about needing everyone's signature and a security deposit, and they all clear out. Bill goes to Dave's office. He's talking about the cut of his promotional promo for the upcoming baseball season. And Dave's edited it, and Bill is very unhappy. And you can tell it's edited. This should have probably less editing, maybe just a retake would have been better for this one. They fight over the edit now. Dave is apparently, according to Bill, ripped out its heart and shoved it down its own throat. They interrupted by Mr. James. Apparently Bill went over Dave's head. Later, Mr. James will say this was all about teaching him a lesson, which doesn't really work. But they decide that they'll work and fix it. So we have a sort of storyline A and B, or either way you want to put it, is either the summer house and Matthew or baseball promo with Bill. Either one of those. There is a storyline C we'll talk about in just a second, though. Beth is told to bring in coffee and an editor with a board so they can fix the problem. Matthew gets Beth and sees her, she sees the floor plan for the house. She offers to sign if she gets the big room. But he then needs a deposit, and Beth is like, oh no, can I get like 20 of my friends to get in with it? And then Matthew's like, maybe. And that's his line. Maybe. Now we get to storyline C. Joe needs Lisa's help to get or to renew his union license to be an electrician. Lisa is very good at test taking, which is good for him. And Joe ends up having to beg for it because apparently it's in 4 hours. And he's already failed the test 7 times. Bill and all of them are arguing over the edit in the office. Dave suggests they cut every third word, and that just makes it worse. The editor then edits Bill, so he's saying that he does crack and likes kids. Whoopsie! He hates that. He says, destroy that. Matthew is on his mission to continue to negotiate with people. He gets Catherine on board. She signs, but only with the adherence that he will make sure that Bill's not walking around in his Speedo. Matthew is, then it's the whole fight over who gets the big room, and then maybe it's you. Maybe. That's his standard response. He gets Bill to sign, and then Bill starts talking about his weird Speedo thing. Catherine is out on it. Matthew is trying to negotiate all this, and he's losing quickly. Joe has now apparently, like I said, failed the tests 7 times, and his main problem apparently is that he doesn't give straight answers. Like, Lisa even tries to tell him that you pass a test by giving them the answer they want, not the answer you think it is. And Joe goes on to say that he's not some mindless drone. And Lisa then makes another reference to Unabombers, like, you are the Unabomber, aren't you? Matthew comes in, Joe and Lisa both talk about, are we getting the big room? Lisa wants to be there on alternate weekends when Dave is not, because she's afraid that if Dave and her are there at the same time, something will happen. Well, Dave is the opposite. Dave does want to be there at one of the times when she is, because he thinks that if they get time outside of work, they may patch things up. Of course, Matthew is sympathetic to this, but he keeps saying maybe to the big room, and he does get Lisa to sign. Goes to Dave now, wants to spend time with Lisa, like I said, and then, again, Matthew offers to kind of mess up the schedule for him. Joe, of course, is always overthinking things because he thinks he's smarter than these people. Guess what, folks? Meet the real Joe Rogan experience. But Beth talks to him and points out Joe's conspiracy and his overthinking issues, and their backfires. Point this out to his face, and so tries to talk him up. Back in the office, everyone's kind of exhausted. They're doing like this round robin thing where they all repeat the next word in the sentence, and they're getting kind of punchy. Matthew has everyone at the table now in the conference area. Everyone's signed. All the checks have been deposited. The whole thing, though, falls apart immediately. All his promises start collapsing. The big room, who gets it, descends into fighting. Everyone pulls out. At one point, Dave and Lisa are talking aside to each other. He accused her of going to bring somebody. She slaps him. Deposits are in, so they have to sell their shares. They finally have a final cut that everyone hates. Catherine then cuts everything down to its bare basics, and it's because they've been compromising. And it's simplified, and it's perfect, except Bill hates it because she cut out his beautiful words. Joe comes back. He failed the test, but the professor and the students were with him in the elevator when something went wrong, and he fixed it. He got a C+. Lisa's immediately suspicious, and yes, Joe broke the elevator on purpose. I kind of wish he'd come fix the elevator at my work. We need it. Even if he breaks it again, I don't care. He can fix it. Inside joke for me. You won't want to get it, but it's okay. Matthew has a whole bunch of new people staying in there, including Milos, for taking the spots and shares of the other people in the group. And they all start asking about the big room again. And Matthew's back to his whole, maybe you line. Another fun one. So, we have reached the end of Season 2, because next time we will be talking about our final episode of Season 2, Led Zeppelin 2, and we will also be talking about the premiere of jumping into Season 3 with President. So, I hope you'll come back and join us for those. We're having a good old time here, just breaking all this stuff down, having fun, refamiliarizing ourselves with the 90s and how simpler times were, including Joe Rogan and Andy Dick. They were less problematic figures back then, just for you kids. But until next time, like I said, we will cover those episodes. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share, comment, write us. We have our main email, notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com, in the description and in the ticker, where you can share your thoughts. You can write in. We've had a nice gentleman who wrote into our main podcast asking about Groundhog's Day. If you're listening to this, Eric is getting back to you, one of my Not Funny colleagues. He should be. I think they may think that I might have association. It's the same reason my mom's name is Chris Evans. It's short for Christina. I am not related to Captain America. Sorry, folks. Wish I was. Or former Captain America. I'm also not related to Anthony Mackie either. So, but that's a fun one. But yeah, write us. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Tell us what you'd like to see more of. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And in the meantime, if you want to catch some other Not Funny Guys stuff, we have our main podcast right here. Not Funny Guys presents Off the Reels, where we are in the midst of our Mission Impossible run. We had a really good start with Mission Impossible 1, a real drop off of Mission Impossible 2, and we have bounced back with Mission Impossible 3, which you'll be able to hear this next week. That will come out, and we will be moving on to Ghost Protocol. Yeah, we get into the screwed up name parts where who knows what Mission Impossible we're on. But if that's not your cup of tea, you can also check out my Not Funny colleagues, Casey and Eric, over on Not Funny Guys Presents Wrestling with the Horror of It All, where they do horror movies, and they're covering SummerSlam, I think, which is going on, or was just happening this weekend at some point. And I just want to say that it really bugs me. Now, I know they don't like this, but I'm just going to speak my mind. It bugs me that we are treating wrestling like it's a professional sport. It is not. It is an athletic display of theatrical showmanship, but it is not a sport. And I don't care, Casey, if you watch this. I know this will piss Casey and Eric off. I don't care. But you should check out their podcast anyway if you're a fan of wrestling. That's fine. You can come hate me. Write me. Comment. Do it. Do it. But we also have another podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, with myself, Dr. John, and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen. We've been talking and we've been riffing off memory and stuff from The Odyssey and Silo and some pop culture stuff, but we do AI culture, thinking, academics, writing, all kinds of fun stuff with it. Much more conversational, free-flowing, fun stuff. I enjoy it. You would enjoy it if that's your thing. But otherwise, come back for more. And until next time, remember, keep it not funny.